Good morning. It is an exciting day. It's the first time for a while that I've been ready for something new to arrive, new and exciting. As I alluded to in one of my last videos, I am investing in a 3D printer. Today, hopefully, it's going to arrive. I ordered it yesterday. So today's one of those days where my ADD brain is kicking in and it's like, you can't really do anything else until that arrives. So I've really got to I'm going to stick some music on, I've got to stick my head down and get some work done, because my to-do list is still just as long as it was at the start of the week, because more stuff comes in then goes out. It's just the way of the world. But the 3D printer will be living over here, so I just need to clear that stuff off. That is a plant that was massively reduced because it looks like it's dead, so we're trying to revive it a little bit. It's a work in progress. Literally only got it yesterday, so that'll be fun. Yeah, so that's where the 3D printer is going to live. I need to get a concrete block and I need to get some insulation for it, just to minimise the vibrations and stuff, because that thing's gonna be loud. Yeah, so I'll tell you more about the 3D printer when it arrives and when we do the unboxing, which will happen in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is the Neptune 2S from Elegoo. I'm going to pronounce it Elegoo. And this has been probably the most highly recommended 3D printer on forums for beginners who have a budget of around about £200. When the Elegoo 2 first came out, it released at I think £160 or $160, and it was one of those things where it released and then you couldn't get one because literally everyone bought one. So it was a really popular item that no one could get, and it really did take like the 3D printing universe by storm. Fast forward I think a year and they released the 2S, which has got some notable upgrades over the 2 that actually make this more appealing for someone who's got just that little bit more budget to be able to spend on something getting up and running right away. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this out of the box and then we are going to put it together. I might time lapse it depending on how long it takes, but yeah, that's what's going to happen. Hope you enjoy the next couple of minutes of time lapse. Okay, so why a 3D printer? Why have I bought a 3D printer? So, as I alluded to earlier, I am a massive nerd. There are a bunch of things that I really want to be able to make, or there are a bunch of ideas that I have, you know, where I'm like, oh, that'd be really handy if I had this, or it'd be really handy if I had that. Or I like to be able to do things myself rather than having to pay somebody else to do it for me. 3D printer kind of plays into that philosophy quite well. As a filmmaker, photographer, YouTuber, whatever you want to call it, there are a bunch of things that I have ideas for that require either like a certain prop or a certain this, that and the other that I've not been able to like find, or I've got an idea of what I want, but like someone will charge like a ridiculous amount of money just for the privilege of being able to have it. And to be honest, most of the time those people are in the US, which means that the shipping's even worse for me anyway, being in the UK. So from a filmmaking perspective, this should help me solve like a few, not like issues, but a few, thank you. It should help me solve a few roadblocks going forward in order to be able to, you know, create some new content and explore some fun ideas. Like with this channel now, I'm slightly changing up the content a little bit, and going forward, like I've got a good few ideas of what I want to achieve and some fun like little concepts and little tests that I want to do. So that's from a filmmaking perspective. Outside of that, you know, things around the house, there are things to do with the plant business, there are things to do with, you know, my interest in coffee, where there are some things that I need for my coffee setup that might be quite handy. You know, 3D printing in that industry is quite heavy. Like that's something that a lot of people experiment with, and I'm really keen to get involved in that community and see how I can, you know, help further the home barista world. So yeah, there's a massive market for all of these kind of things, and for me as a massive nerd, obviously scale models of ships, helmets, props, you know, I'd love to make like a full set of Mandalorian armor, for instance, and there's, you know, plenty of 3D files online, but I want to do the making of it myself. I want that satisfaction. I love that end-to-end process of making something, as you know, I'm sure you've probably seen from things like some of the vlogs where I built like wardrobes, all that kind of stuff. Most of my interest actually now falls more along like the maker side of YouTube rather than along the camera side of YouTube. I'm going to put this together now and stop chatting guff, but yeah, this should be fun. It was an unintentional positioning of the beanbag here, but it actually worked out pretty well. So this is pretty much where it's going to live. And I'm going to now have a little play, figure out the software and stuff like that, watch some tutorials on test prints and all that jazz. And the next thing you see will be me. I can't believe I just did that. Why did I do that? Why did I just ruin a perfectly good peel? Well, I mean, I'm not technically a tech YouTuber, so that works, I guess. But yeah, this sun right now is lovely. I'm gonna have a little play. See what we can come up. See what we can come up with. I feel like I should also highlight that a couple of things this comes with, which is really nice, is you've got a bunch of replacement guiders for the filament. You've got a bunch of different nozzles. There's what looks like some kind of like USB device for like a card reader. It's just that little one there. A little USB card reader with the micro SD card, which I imagine has probably the software and the tutorial on it and stuff like that. You get a nice little scraper, which is basically just any kind of paint scraper. You get a pair of snippers, which is obviously for cutting away supports, all that kind of stuff. And then you get bunch of Allen keys to put together. You get a bunch of screwdrivers. You also get a little acupuncture needle, which I think you definitely can't see that, can you? Yeah, you can. A little acupuncture needle, which is for cleaning out the extruder and the path between. So that's very handy. You get a small little bit of filament. I imagine this is for running test prints or for running a calibration or something. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Let me pop you down a sec. One of the key important things. Oh my god, I'm overexposed as hell. There we go. Shut speed. So one of the key important things with for me for 3D printing is making sure it's as sustainable as possible for me. So all of our electricity for the house is from renewable sources. That's just part of the energy supply that I signed up to. That was just a key thing for me when choosing a supplier. The 3D printer itself, obviously there's not much I can do about that, but the filament I'm going for as kind of eco cost friendly weighed up as possible. So this stuff is the filament that I'm going to be testing out first. It's called Polyterra. It's PLA. The reason I went with PLA is because it's relatively biodegradable. Obviously you can't just stick it in the ground and let it biodegrade. It's not water soluble, but it will degrade over time, right? So the purchase of this plants one tree, offsets 12 kilograms of CO2. The production of this is 4 kilograms of CO2, including getting it to me. So for me, that is quite a big plus, being able to actually kind of stay as eco-friendly as possible with stuff like this. So I'll keep on learning, I'll keep on looking into the additional costs, but that's just going to be something I'm quite mindful of as we go forward. I don't want to contribute to the excess of plastic in the world. However, I'm very keen to experiment with different filaments and find the best one for what I'm after. I am wanting to do some stuff that is food safe, so there will be times where I can't use eco-friendly filament. And then aside from that, you know, I just keep on learning and keeping myself up to date with the latest stuff that's out, because, you know, 3D printing is going to contribute to all of that stuff, and I'm sure that the community are looking into ways to make it more sustainable, like this recycled plastic from offcuts or wastage, reducing the wastage, reducing the carbon footprint of this 3D printing community. So anyway, I'm going to go over there and carry on. But yeah, just thought you should see that. Okay, so the first test print has come out really well, the little Buddha. So I've gone ahead and whacked the Polyterra PLA on top, fed it in, cleaned it out, which really didn't take that much at all. Quite impressed with that. Minimal wastage. In fact, this, that's all it needed. If you can see that. Yeah, that's all it needed. That's a tiny amount. And it's now printing a WDT tool, which is a little coffee distribution tool. It's one of the main things on my list to be able to print. So that's doing that. And it's going to take about 40 minutes to do the bottom half, and then another probably 40 minutes to do the top half. So yeah, all we need now is time, and it's cracking on. It's great.